From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday evening arrived in the country from his attendance to the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Japan Commemorative Summit in Tokyo, Japan, showcasing a successful trip, bringing with him a substantial amount of investment pledges as well as security and cooperation guarantees in various areas. The President and his delegation arrived in Manila at 10:38 in the evening. The commemorative summit was for the 50th anniversary of ASEAN-Japan relations, where the President met with ASEAN leaders and Japanese Prime Minister Kishida Fumio. In a video message, the chief executive provided an update on the progress of business commitments signed by the country's Japanese partners during his February visit to Tokyo. He said Japanese investors have reported over 169.7 billion pesos in capital being funneled into the Philippine economy. The commitments generated by 9,700 new jobs in the Philippines, adding 9 new letters of intent, and Memorandum of Understanding or MOUs were signed during the visit, valued at 14.5 billion Philippine peso in investment, and over 15,750 additional jobs for Filipino workers. Let us listen to the video message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
I attended the commemorative summit for the 50th anniversary of ASEAN-Japan relations and met with ASEAN leaders and Prime Minister Kishida Fumio. Throughout the summit and other related events, we discussed the future of ASEAN-Japan relations and emphasized the need for ASEAN to have an active role in maintaining peace, security, and stability in the region. We also advocated a rules-based Indo-Pacific region that is free and open, guided by the shared fundamental principles as enshrined in the UN Charter and the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia. We highlighted the need to promote respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, settlement of differences or disputes by peaceful means, and renunciation of the threat or use of force. I called attention to the worsening plight of the people of Myanmar and urged the proactive engagement of all stakeholders so as to alleviate the situation through the 5-point consensus, the United Nations mechanisms, as well as the AHA Center. The summit highlighted Japan's commitment to promoting friendship and camaraderie amongst the peoples of ASEAN and Japan through various initiatives, including the Japan East Asia Network of Exchange for Students and Youth, or Genesis program. This has been supported by the Philippines since 2007. Japan's people-to-people programs create not only long-term relationships, but also build trust, which is the basis of ASEAN-Japan cooperation across all sectors. We also discussed how Japan's role in ASEAN and individual states' economies have progressed over the past 5 decades, particularly in our shared commitment towards peace and security, trade and investment, food security, climate action, energy security, supply chain resilience, infrastructure development, and connectivity. As permanent country coordinator for ASEAN-Japan economic relations, I assured ASEAN and Japan that the Philippines will continue to shepherd ASEAN initiatives and projects, not only to co-create a region of economic prosperity, but also an inclusive society that is ready for the future. I also delivered the keynote speech during the Creative and Sustainable Economy Through Innovation event organized by our DTI, and this showcased collaborative projects of Filipino fashion designers and Japanese textile manufacturers. In the area of investment, I am pleased to update you on the progress of business commitments signed by our valued Japanese partners during my last visit to Japan in February. Japanese investors directly reported over 169.7 billion pesos of capital funneled into the Philippine economy. From these commitments, more than 9,700 new jobs have been generated to date. 9 new letters of intent and MOUs were signed during this visit, valued at 14.5 billion pesos in investments and over 15,750 additional jobs for our workers. I'm also pleased to update that the letters of intent and MOU signed in February 2023, together with those signed during this visit, total now 771.6 billion pesos, or approximately $14 billion in pledges from Japanese investors. This significant investment is anticipated to create around 40,200 jobs, marking a positive and promising development for our collaborative efforts. We also concluded 2 memoranda of cooperation, one between the DNR and the Ministry of the Environment of Japan in the field of environmental protection, and the other between the Coast Guards of the Philippines and of Japan. The conclusion of this MOC between Coast Guards strengthens an already excellent relationship. On this last day, I attended the Asia Zero Emissions Community, or AZEC, leaders meeting, where I apprised AZEC partner countries of the current Philippine initiatives towards promoting clean energy transition. I highlighted our experience in promoting clean energy projects such as the first wind farms in Southeast Asia in 2003 during my term as governor of Ilocos Norte, and I invited ASEC partners, including Japan, to invest in the Philippine renewable energy industry to achieve not only the intention of the ASEC, but also the overall goal of the Paris Agreement. My administration will see to it that our constructive engagements with ASEAN, our external partners, our stakeholders, will continue to best serve our national interests, inasmuch as we promote the regional interest of peace and prosperity for the well-being of our people. Without a doubt, this summit reaffirmed the robust and enduring character of ASEAN-Japan relations.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday said that he and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida agreed to immediately finalize the discussion on the planned Reciprocal Access Agreement, or RAA, stressing that the Philippines will continue to talk with other like-minded nations to resolve the issue in the South China Sea. In a media interview before returning to the Philippines, the president was asked about the specific timeline for the finalization of the RAA. President Marcos said that both the Prime Minister and he agrees to finalize the RAA the soonest possible time. The RAA has been in the works for some time, but both countries sharpened their focus as a result of the recent incidents in the West Philippine Sea, or WPS, he said, noting that he is looking forward to having such an arrangement not only with Japan, but also with other countries to give the Philippine big multiplier effect in terms of capability. Such discussions, he said, become a very important part of these trips, saying that he approached other leaders during formal discussions to talk about security issues in the WPS. The RAA is expected to greatly boost maritime cooperation between the two countries, as the proposed RAA will facilitate the procedures and set guidelines when Philippine forces visit Japan for training and joint exercises and vice versa. Formal negotiations on the RAA were held to Tokyo on November 29 to 30 of this year, with the Philippine delegation being headed by the Department of National Defense, accompanied by negotiating teams from the Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, and the Department of Justice, or DOJ.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday said that his government is cautious in its actions in Ayungin Shoal, where an extraordinary number of Chinese vessels were reported to be present. In a media interview before returning to the Philippines, the government must be careful and not overreact in order to not be misinterpreted or misunderstood, he said. Report says that there is a presence of 11 Chinese vessels in Ayungin Shoal and another 27 ships surrounding the shoal.
Of course, we are exerting all efforts, no. But we have we have to be very careful that we do not overreact, that we do not that we do not make mistakes that might be misinterpreted by anyone. Kailangan talaga maingat tayo dahil pag may nangyari ulit dyan, if we heighten the tensions, it won't lead us to a good result. So we are being very circumspect in the actions that we will take.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has issued Executive Order or EO number 49 creating the Office of the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs or OSA PIEA under the Office of the President to ensure the effective integration, coordination, and implementation of the various government investment and economic policies and programs. Under EO 49, OSA PIEA shall be headed by a Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs or SAPEA with the rank of a Secretary. OSA PIEA will be headed by Presidential Advisor on Investment and Economic Affairs Frederick Go. Among the functions of the OSA PIEA head is assisting the President by providing him with timely, relevant, and strategic advice on economic matters and concerns, including, among others, inflation, food security, and the increasing prices of key commodities. The office will also take charge of making sure investment pledges are realized and come to fruition. According to EO 49, the SAPIEA shall serve as chairperson of the Economic Development Group, or EDG, while the secretaries of the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, and Department of Finance, or DOF, shall serve as vice chairpersons. The SAPIEA shall work with the EDG and identify the priority programs, activities, and projects or PAPs in the Philippine Development Plan or PDP 2023 to 2028, as well as monitor, review, and evaluate the progress of priority initiatives and PAPs of the administration. Other functions include identifying problem areas in the implementation and submitting to the President a comprehensive report on such matters, including their status and ensuring timely execution, as well as close monitoring of the impact on identified targets of priority economic initiatives and PAPs. Ensuring that the President's priority investments and economic agenda is actively pursued and interagency actions are expedited to achieve key targets are also part of the office's mandate. The head shall also sit as a member of NEDA Board Investment Coordination Committee or ICC, Social Development Committee or SDC, Committee on Infrastructure or INFRACOM, and Development Budget Coordination. The creation of the OSA PIEA is in accordance with the Marcos administration's thrust to implement PDP 2023 to 2028, which aims to achieve economic and social transformation by steering the economy back on a high growth path, ensuring inclusive growth, and in creating an enabling environment that provides equal opportunities for all Filipinos in an innovative and globally competitive economy.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday called on Filipinos to be conscious and responsible in using energy supply. In observance of the 2023 National Energy Consciousness Month or NECM, the President emphasized the need for the public to reflect on their habits on electricity use and foster a culture of responsible energy use. In his message for the month-long observation, President Marcos Jr. said that with everyone's help, the country can attain a more sustainable and resilient future and for the generations that will follow. The chief executive said the country must also recognize this year's Energy Efficiency Award, aimed at recognizing individuals and organizations exemplifying strong dedication to achieving energy conservation and taking the lead in promoting energy efficiency. President Marcos hopes that this year's can inspire the rest of the country to become more conscious in utilizing energy supply more responsibly. The Department of Energy, or DOE, is celebrating its 51st anniversary this month and is also the lead agency in the observance of the 2023 NECM, carrying the theme, Sustainable and Responsible Energy Future, Fueling Hope, Lighting the Way. The NECM seeks to trigger conversations on the efficient energy use and rally multi-sectoral support on the government's Energy Action Plan, as well as strongly advocate for energy conservation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang Palace visitors were surprised as Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos roamed the palace grounds to extend their warm greetings to the ongoers. The first couple were shown interacting with children, enjoying the rides at the Christmas Carnival inside the palace grounds. In an earlier statement, Malacañang Palace announced that through its Tara sa Palasyo, or in English, Let's Go to the Palace had opened its doors to the public for the traditional Misa de Gallo or Simbang Gabi. The Mass, which is held for 9 consecutive days starting December 16th until the 24th, will be held at the Mabini grounds in Malacañang Palace from 4:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning. The celebration started on the 18th of December, and visitors can enter the grounds starting 6 o'clock in the evening up until 6 o'clock the following morning. Guests will receive complimentary servings of puto bumbong and bibingka after the Mass. Carnival rides are open from 6 in the evening until 11 in the evening. During the Christmas tree lighting at the Kalayaan grounds early this month, the President led a gift-giving event and Christmas celebration in front of the palace. The chief executive said his goal is to make sure that every Filipino child will have a joyful and meaningful Christmas.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. signed into law the country's 5.768 trillion pesos national budget, or the General Appropriations Act, or GAA, for fiscal year or FY 2024 in Malacañang Palace. In his speech after the signing, the President said the GAA is merely a spreadsheet. It is the government's plan to protect the country, keep its citizens healthy, and create jobs and livelihood for all Filipinos. President Marcos Jr. assured the public that the national budget was meticulously crafted to sustain the Philippines' high growth trajectory. The chief executive urged all government agencies to optimize allocated resources to ensure the welfare, progress, and prosperity of every Filipino, reiterating an important budget commandment that all officials must obey. The 2024 GAA is anchored in the framework provided by the fiscal year or FY 2024 National Expenditure Program or NEP, geared towards achieving the country's economic goals specifically identified in the administration's medium-term fiscal framework or MTFF, the 8-point socio-economic agenda, and the Philippine Development Plan or PDP 2023 to 2028. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Today we sign the national budget, the instrument which tells how the taxes paid by the people will be returned to them. In effect, we are signing the renewal of our annual social contract with taxpayers, that what they have paid faithfully will be rebated to them in full. Although it is teeming with numbers, this budget is more than a spreadsheet of amounts or a ledger of projects. Rather, it details our battle plan in fighting poverty and combating illiteracy, in producing food and ending hunger, in protecting our homes and securing our border, treating the sick, keeping our people healthy, creating jobs, and funding livelihoods. It is wrong to say that the budget merely pays for the overhead of the bureaucracy. It is more than that. It funds the elimination of problems that we as a nation must overcome. It is incorrect to say that the budget merely finances the operations of government because its fine print bankrolls the realization of our dreams writ large. In the end, every line in this budget, when translated to projects, from roads to schools to hospitals, will transform our country for the better and the lives of our people for the better. In this budget, we have included what we consider to be the means that will boost both the physical and human capital of a nation blessed with talent, waiting to be tapped, with resources ready to be harnessed. But I would be the first to dispel any claim that this budget fully funds all our plans for our country and our people. How I wish that we could wipe out with one budget cycle all our infrastructure backlogs. How I wish that we had only revenues to realize our country's unlimited potential. Suddenly, the will is there, the wherewithal, perhaps not always so. Like any government, we are curtailed by what we can collect, by what our tax coffers contain. We can be reckless, take the easy path, borrow, let our children pick today's tab up tomorrow. But debt is not the kind of inheritance that we want to leave those who will come after us. Good fiscal stewardship imposes upon us the discipline not to be led into the temptation of bloating what we owe. Good government dictates upon us the duty to spend the appropriations we have cobbled together for the correct purposes, the right way, on time, and on budget. I say this to remind those who will execute this budget that red tape that leads to underspending and overspending that disregards legal guardrails are two sides of the same coin. Implementation delay and illegal deviations inflict the same havoc of denying the people of the progress and development that they deserve. So with this reminder comes the most important budget commandment that we must always heed. We are working for the people, not for ourselves. We are working for the country, not for ourselves. Honor the taxpayers who make the budget possible. And in doing so, we will bring closer to the brighter tomorrow that we aspire for bagong Pilipinas that we all envision for our people. Let us all work in solidarity for a more empowered Philippines. I congratulate you all for the very hard work that I know you have put in to put this budget together. Mabuhay kayong lahat. Maraming salamat po.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday paid tribute to the sacrifices and contributions of overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, during a gathering with their families in Pasay City. In his message at the 2023 OFWs Family Day, the president said that not only the OFWs help the country's economy, they also help the local workforce as they bring home with them the knowledge and skills they have attained while working abroad. President Marcos Jr. reassured the OFWs and their families that his administration is prioritizing their welfare and interests. The chief executive mentioned a few initiatives implemented by the government in advancing OFWs' rights overseas and protecting them from the threats of exploitation, such as the One Repatriation Command Center that operates 24/7 and facilitates the rescue, repatriation, counseling, legal assistance, and reintegration services for distressed OFWs. Provision of services and programs for OFWs who chose to go home and stay in the country, and other support mechanism for their families and loved ones, such as the OFW Children's Circle, educational assistance, and the OFW Hospital in Pampanga, among many others. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Binabati ko ang lahat ng mga OFW at ang inyong mga pamilya na sila ring nagsasakripisyo habang kayo ay kumakayod at nakikipagsapalaran sa ibang bansa. Ang mga pamilya po ninyo ay siyempre may sakripisyo rin sila. Kaya kasama sila sa pagtulong ng ating mga OFW sa Pilipinas. Kaya't napakaganda na kayo'y kasama sa pagdiriwang ng ating OFW Family Day. Masaya ako na magkasama tayo sa araw na ito upang magsaya at makapaglibang, lalo na at 5 araw na lang ay Pasko na. Tunay talaga at napakalaki ng kontribusyon ng ating mga OFW sa ating lipunan, sa ating lahat dito sa Pilipinas. Hindi lamang po remittance ang ating pinag-uusapan at ang pagtulong sa ating ekonomiya. Baon din nila sa kanilang pag-uwi ang mga bagong kasanayan at kaalaman na ibinabahagi sa ating lakas paggawa. Kaya naman po, inaalay namin ang araw na ito bilang parangal at pagpapasalamat sa inyong paghihirap, pagsisipag at inyong sakripisyo. Nais din po namin higit na pagtibayin ang pagmamahalan ng inyong pamilya, lalo na at madalas ninyo silang hindi makapiling sa mahabang panahon. Nawat mas maging matatag ang samahan ninyo ng mga anak at makapiling din ninyo ang isa't isa sa pamamagitan ng okasyon na ito. Nais ko ring ipabatid sa inyo na hindi tumitigil ang pamahalaan sa pagkilos upang maipabuti ang inyong kalagayan. Una, nagtatagpo tayo ng One Repatriation Command Center na may nakalaang hotline para sa mga OFW maghihingi na kung kailangan humingi ng tulong. Ang hotline 1348 ay bukas, laging bukas at hindi nagsasara. Kahit gabi, 24 hours a day, 7 araw sa isang linggo, 24/7, ito ay nandyan para sa inyo upang makapagbigay ng rescue, repatriation, counseling, legal assistance na sino mang OFW na mangangailangan nito. Pangalawa, patuloy din tayong nagbibigay ng mga serbisyo at programa para sa reintegration ng mga OFW na nagnanais ng umuwi at manatili sa Pilipinas. Ilan sa mga programang ito ay ang Livelihood Development Assistance Program, ang Pinay Balik Hanap Buhay, ang Financial Awareness Seminar, Small Business Management Training, and Enterprise Development Loan Program. Ito po ay pinagsama-sama. Nandyan din ang tulong pangkabuhayan sa pag-unlad ng samahang OFW. Ito po ay ginagawa po natin upang dahil nagbabago na po ang mundo. Kaya kailangan para kung kayo ba ay may iwan dito pag nakauwi, kung kayo ba ay may iwan dito sa Pilipinas o nais din yung bumalik pa ulit sa inyong trabaho, ay kailangan makapag-training ng mabuti para tayo handa at makipagsapalaran na nga at kaya natin ang mga bagong mga teknolohiya, ang mga bagong pamamaraan. Kaya't nandyan po ang lahat ng assistance para mabigyan naman natin ang ating mga OFW ng isang magandang pagkakataon upang sila'y makapagsimula muli pagkatapos ng pandemya. Marami din tayong binibigay na suporta sa inyong mga kaanak tulad ng OFW Children's Circle, ang OWA, Education and Training Program, and Educational Assistance. Maliban dyan, nagtatag din tayo ng OFW Hospital sa San Fernando, Pampanga upang tugunan ang mga pangangailangang medikal ng ating OFW at kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. Marami pang proyekto ang nakapila at kahit ang mga kasalukuyang programa ay pagagandahin pa natin. Umaasa po akong susulitin ninyo at gagamitin ng wasto ang mga benepisyong ito. Kasabay ng pagkayod ninyo sa ibayong dagat para sa mas magandang buhay ng inyong pamilya ay ang aming pagsisikap na magpaunlad palalo sa ating bansa upang sa inyong pagbabalik ay makita naman ninyo ang malaking pagbabago dito sa Pilipinas. Layunin natin na ang pangingibang bansa ay hindi lamang dala ng pangangailangan upang maiahon ang pamilya sa kahirapan. Sa bagong Pilipinas, nais natin itong maging isang alternatibo na lamang dahil mas marami ang pagkakataon sa loob ng bansa. Kaya hiling ko na magkaisa tayo na pangangarap at pagpapanday ng isang bansang matatag, maunlad at puno ng oportunidad para sa bawat Pilipino. Para makamit natin ito, hinihikayat ko ang lahat na yakapin ang pagiging isang makabagong Pilipino. Sa ating mga OFW, na araw-aray ay nagpapamalas ng sipag, husay at katatagan sa inyong mga propesyon at siyang maipagmamalaki natin sa buong mundo. Kayo ang tunay na halimbawa ng makabagong manggagawang Pilipino. Sa inyong patuloy na pakikiisa, buo ang tiwala ko na maitataguyod natin ang isang bagong Pilipinas para sa mga Pilipino, ngayon at sa mga susunod pang henerasyon. Muli, binabati ko ang ating mga magigiting na OFW sa inyong mga mahal sa buhay. Maraming salamat at mabuhay kayong lahat.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. administered the oath of office of the 4 new directors of the Maharlika Investment Corporation, or MIC, in a ceremony at the Malacañang Palace in Manila. The Philippine Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, said the 4 new MIC directors are Vicky Castillo Tan, Andrew Jerome Gan, Herman Lichauco II, and Roman Felipe Reyes. Prior to her appointment to the MIC, Tan served as Steel Asia Manufacturing Incorporated's Deputy President and Maybank Incorporated's Independent Board of Director and Chairperson of its Corporate Governance Committee. She also worked as an officer of Asian Development Bank, or ADB, from September 2002 to January 2021. Working in various capacities such as senior financial analyst, credit review officer, structured financial officer, financial management specialist, senior advisor to the vice president, regional cooperation and operations coordination division director, and budget and management services division director. Gan, on the other hand, became Singapore advisor for Bank Pictet and Shea, managing director of Global Land Development Corporation, Fifi Lamore Incorporated, and Beacon Holdings Incorporated, and Director Treasurer and Director of Communications of Novo Moda Incorporated. He studied finance and business economics at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, USA, and graduated in 1985 and attained his master's in public policy and management at the School of Oriental and Asian Studies. Meantime, Lichauco worked as director and corporate secretary of Herios Electronic Materials Philippines Incorporated, Casa Cebuana Incorporated, Cebuana Figueroa Estate Corporation, and Coco Properties Incorporated. He likewise served as compliance officer with the rank of vice president and corporate secretary of Medical Doctors Incorporated, the company which controls and manages the Makati Medical Center Hospital. Lichauco graduated from De La Salle University in Manila in 1985 and earned his Juris Doctor degree from Ateneo de Manila University in 1992. And lastly, Reyes is a chairperson and founding partner of Reyes Tacandong and Company from 2010 up to date. He also occupied the director post at the Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, or RPN9, Pampanga Sugar Development Company, or PASUDECO, the All-Asian Counter Trade Philippine Geothermal Production Company, and Converge ICT Solutions Incorporated. Reyes was a graduate of San Beda College, completing his Bachelor of Science in Commerce in 1972. He took his Master of Business Administration Finance degree at the University of Detroit, Michigan, and graduated in 1975. Just last month, President Marcos appointed Rafael Consing Jr. as President and Chief Executive Officer, or CEO, of the MIC. The MIC, created by virtue of Republic Act, or RA 11954, serves as a primary vehicle for mobilizing and utilizing the Maharlika Investment Fund for investments and transactions aimed at generating optimal returns on investments.
Dateline Malacañang.
That's all for today's Dateline Malacañang in review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this has been Bea Gaza.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.